Hello everyone, this is H2Agon from Online Nights, and I'm here today with the second episode of our new series, Mass Effect Factions. In this series we'll be aiming to provide a breakdown of all the various races and factions in the Mass Effect franchise, a game series famous for its highly detailed and expansive universe. We're going to be splitting our summaries of each faction into 4 sections: history, anatomy, military, and culture. For today's episode we're going to be covering the once all-powerful Prothean Empire. Starting off with history, the story of the Protheans up to the time of the games. Please note that in this series we're never going to be covering in-game events, simply due to the countless potential outcomes possible given Mass Effect's nature as a role-playing game. Since there's no official canon during the time period of the games, we can't really say what happened. However, we do still ask that you be aware there may still be some story spoilers in this section and others. But back to the Protheans though. The name and location of the Prothean homeworld is unknown. However, Prothean interstellar communication technology has been found intact and estimated at 70,000 years old, indicating that they developed spaceflight sometime before 68,000 BC. The Protheans spread throughout the galaxy quickly, mainly by reverse engineering technology left behind by the Inusanon, a race which inhabited the galaxy over 100,000 years ago, but had been driven to extinction by the Reapers. The few remains left of the Inusanon gave the Protheans a sufficient understanding of Mass Effect technology to allow them to rapidly expand their empire. As the Protheans spread throughout the galaxy, they encountered many alien civilizations, each time either subjugating them or crushing them utterly if they refused to surrender. Over the next 20,000 years, the Prothean Empire rose to become the dominant force in the Milky Way, ruling over dozens of assimilated species from their capital on the Citadel. Then everything changed when the Reapers attacked. Just as they'd done every 50,000 years for countless millennia, the Reapers arrived in the galaxy to commence another harvest. The Reaper forces entered Prothean space via the hidden relay in the Citadel, allowing them to instantly decapitate the Prothean government and military leadership. The Reapers were then also able to use Prothean records on the station to locate all major population centers around the galaxy. With the coordinates for every colony and the Protheans leaderless, the Reapers had an easy time wiping out their crippled enemy. Despite fighting tooth and nail, after a century of increasingly brutal warfare, the Prothean forces were spent. Aside from a very few who survived by hiding in cryogenic suspension, the Protheans were eventually driven to complete extinction, with virtually all traces of their civilization being destroyed. After the Reapers returned to dark space, those few in cryosleep re-emerged, and successfully sabotaged the mechanisms on the Citadel, which had allowed the Reapers to backdoor them so easily. The numbers of those survivors were too few to re-establish the civilization, however, and so aside from a handful of scattered artifacts and a single individual still in cryosleep, this sabotage to give the next cycle a fighting chance was the only legacy of the Prothean race. Moving on, anatomy. A brief description of the physical features typical of the Prothean race. The Protheans are an organic race, roughly humanoid in form, standing upright on 2 legs. They have 2 toes to a foot, 3 fingers to a hand, 2 pairs of eyes, each with dual pupils, and 3 pairs of nostrils. Prothean heads are also covered with a thick carapace, giving them a distinctively shaped head. Prothean skin colour has been observed to range from brown to blue-grey, though there could well be other variations as yet unseen. Protheans have a unique feature in their quad strand of DNA, as opposed to the double helix found in all other known organisms. The exact reason for this adaptation, or the advantages it confers, are unknown. Most interestingly, the Protheans also possessed a remarkable sensory ability. By making physical contact with an individual, Protheans were able to recall its experiences. This enabled them to instantly learn new languages, and massively increased their ability to master new skills. Whilst the potential advantageous applications of this feature are rather clearer, the science behind exactly how this works is still barely understood. Thirdly, military. A look at the combat capabilities of the Protheans. The Prothean military was immensely powerful, as evidenced by them dominating the galaxy for so many tens of thousands of years. With the Citadel as their seat of government, the Protheans made use of the ancient mass relay network to connect all their conquered species together into one giant empire. Protheans are known to have been skilled with biotics, and many used their abilities to terrible effect in many military applications. Prothean weaponry was, as far as we can tell, largely based on particle beams, as opposed to projectile-based weaponry, such as modern-day conventional arms or most of the other firearms depicted in-game. The advantages of beam weaponry, which are unreliant on ammunition stocks, proved useful in the fight against the Reapers, when isolated garrisons would often be cut off from supply lines, and would otherwise have been significantly less able to fight back. Possibly the pinnacle of Prothean military accomplishment is a device referred to in-game as the Crucible. Countless races had, during their cycles, come to realise that the Reapers were too powerful to defeat using conventional means, and looked into creating a kind of superweapon with which to destroy the Reapers. Cycle after cycle, the species of the galaxy worked towards this weapon, each time improving on the designs they'd recovered from those who'd came before. But it was the Protheans who finally perfected the design, and though they were unable to finish building it themselves before their extinction, they provided the blueprints for the Crucible as we see it in Mass Effect 3. Finally, culture, a summary of the social behaviours of the Protheans. The Protheans strongly believed in a doctrine they referred to as the Cosmic Imperative, an extreme view of evolution which valued the survival of the fittest above all. They believed it was just to allow the strong to flourish while leaving the weak to perish. This belief system influenced all parts of Prothean society, and was ultimately used to justify their tyranny over so many other races. They claimed entitlement to rule by virtue of simply being the strongest around. As well as conquering other advanced civilizations, the Protheans also occasionally helped nurture more primitive species, watching them develop and intervening to accelerate that development if they deemed the species to have potential. Humans and most other races encountered in the games were subject to this cultivation and given time would likely have been invited to join the Empire as client species. Their intentions towards those species which they deemed as primitive were not always so charitable, however. Prothean cuisine included many of the in-game races, humans, Solarians, Hanar and even Krogan appearing on the menu. Prothean society was strictly regulated, many common practices today such as gambling and games of chance being illegalized under pain of death. Other entertainments were not outlawed, however, staring contests apparently being a typical Prothean pastime, and a more complex one than we know it as due to their multiple pairs of eyes. So that was the Protheans. This is definitely not a complete list of everything we know about them, but we hope this at least goes beyond the information available in the in-game codex, and helps give some kind of basic breakdown on the Protheans as a faction. We hope that you've enjoyed the video. I've been H2Acon from Online Knights, and I'll see you next time.